What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Josh Coker here, a.k.a. Joshumusprime. You know what it is. And in this video, we're going to talk about writing places and writing spaces and the importance of putting in the work. Before we do that, you're going to see here some really sexy video of me just writing, sitting at a computer, putting in the work. And part of the reason I'm doing this, aside from showing you a couple different areas that I like to write, is to just re-emphasize the fact that at some point you have to actually sit down and write. You have to actually put in the work, or else you're not really a writer. You're just a talker, an aspiring writer. And unfortunately, that's where a lot of people are. They like to talk about it. They like to dream about it. They like to live the writer/author lifestyle without ever actually doing the work. So this is what it looks like, and it's not glamorous, it's not sexy, it's not attractive, it's not exciting, it's not mind-blowing. But if you ever want to get books out that are all of those things, you have to do this. And with that being said, I might touch on that a little bit more later. The real thing about this that I wanted to talk about too was just, where do you like to write? As you can see, pardon me, big yawn. As you can see in this video, this particular clip, I'm out on the patio, just typing away. And that day, we had a cold spell here in Florida, so that's why I'm wearing so many layers. Usually, it's so hot out here that it's like, t-shirt or a short sleeve shirt and shorts, and that's it. But that particular day, it was chilly. I was trying to take advantage of that weather because while I'm not a big fan of really cold weather, I do like chilly weather, especially when you can wear like a cozy jacket. And to me, that's like the perfect time for writing, drinking some coffee, get the juices flowing. And over the years, I have found that for me, sometimes I have to switch it up for writing. And I mean this in a couple different ways. When you think of location, part of location is also time. So it's time and location. And I'm a big believer in sticking to a routine and sticking to a process. I would say 90% of most mornings, 9 out of every 10 mornings, I get up, kind of, go through my morning routine, and then I get to the computer and I start writing. However, that does fluctuate from time to time based on real life events. If the kids have something going on, if the family has something going on, if I have to go to a business meeting or something like that, then I have to rearrange. But that's not a bad thing. And while I do think that having a routine is the best way to stay consistent, I'm not so rigid about it that I can't fluctuate time and place. So as we're having this conversation, keep in mind that sometimes you could go to the same place, but going at a different time during the day might help you get the juices flowing a little bit different, because our bodies go through different rhythms, just like we have circadian rhythms of sleep and even eating. Our hormones release, our glands release different hormones throughout the day that really determine in a lot of ways our moods. Now, again, I have to really emphasize this. I'm not saying that you shouldn't set the most optimal time and place to sit down and write. But you also have to take into account that every once in a while the muse won't hit there, and you might sit at your computer for an hour or two and barely get anything written. But it's maintaining that process that really counts. I just recently was gifted the masterclass courses through that app called Masterclass, and I've watched several of my favorite authors masterclasses, including Dan Brown, James Patterson, Neil Gaiman, R.L. Stine, Aaron Sorkinson, and I watched a little bit of Margaret Atwood's, and I highly recommend all of them. The reason I recommend them is because you get a different flavor. Each of them writes in a little bit of a different genre. Each of them has a little bit of a different style. And the interesting thing that I found is that they each have their own routines and things. Some of them are very strict about where they go and write, and they can't really write anywhere else, where others of them can pretty much write anywhere. And I used to think when I was a young writer that I needed a specific time and place to write. And that is very important to set that aside to maintain your routine. But again, I've found that if you're so strict that you only limit your writing times to then, you miss out on other opportunities. And as you'll see in later clips, I move around the house. Sometimes I'll write on the couch. Sometimes I will write at my computer. Sometimes I will go, actually quite often when the weather is good, I'll go out to the pool and write. And there are other times where I'll go to coffee shops. Those are some of my favorite places. Back when we lived up north, I had like a gigantic house with multiple rooms, and I would go from room to room depending on my mood, and I would write. So it really depends on the day. Sometimes it's not about the time that you're going, but maybe different days you feel in a different mood, and a room is giving you a different ambiance that's just hitting you the way that you need to kind of get that fuel going. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And just to go back to those master classes again, it's like you might hear one of your favorite authors say, well, I can only write in this small room with no distractions, with earphones on, with no music, only coffee for X amount of hours. And then you hear that, and because you enjoy that author, you then think that's the only way that you can write like them, or just write in general. And that's just not the case. Because after listening to all these master classes, after reading several interviews and books of authors that I aspire to be like, the truth is they all have their own thing. So you really got to figure out what is your thing. And with that being said, I'll give everyone a couple tips that either I or they have mentioned, and you'll see this kind of as like reoccurring themes throughout many bestsellers. Is some of them like to write to music. Some of them will listen to music loudly. Some of them will listen to like light music. Sometimes, like I think Stephen King said, he's big into rock and roll. Other people like to play classical music. Sometimes people like the music and the bustle of a coffee shop, and I'm kind of like that. But to be honest, for me, I kind of, it depends on my mood, but I'll do all of those. One day I might turn the music on in the background, then have it kind of playing just at like a white noise level, where it's just at the periphery of my consciousness, and then I'll start writing. Other days I'll have it up really loud, and it's almost like being in the gym. It's kind of pumping me up and making me feel like energized for the writing. And even the songs that I listen to, I usually play varied playlists, but sometimes it's rap, sometimes it's 90s, 80s music, sometimes it's even lighter stuff. It all depends, and I don't think it really matters what I listen to or what Stephen King listens to or what Dan Brown listens to. I think it's more important to find out what you listen to, I say these things so that you don't feel like you're boxed into one mindset or one methodology, and then to give you permission to just go out there and experiment and see what actually works for you. What do you enjoy doing and writing to? Because that's really gonna help you, especially if you set it. Sorry, another big yawn. Especially if you set into a consistent routine. It's a lot like going to the gym, and I think that's why I have those two common traits, going to the gym and writing, is that they require the same amount of discipline, mental discipline, and physical discipline in some ways, and they really complement each other. One is a mental / imaginative type of feat, while the other is more of a physical feat. And I believe that the mind and body play a big role, which kind of leads me to another point about, writing places, locations, and I guess you could even say routines that writers have is, incorporating some type of exercise for your writing regimen is also very important. And I do mean physical exercise. It could be something as simple as walking, and that is the one that I would recommend the most. Sometimes clearing your head, taking notes about things that are going on in your story, ideas that you have, places you want to go with your story. Sometimes that is the best thing to help prevent writer's block. So, or if not prevent, but like overcome writer's block. So I would recommend that. And just, again, moving around to different places when you don't feel like, for example, yesterday and the day before, I went to my computer and I was writing, and I actually, to be fair, I got an average amount of stuff written, but it wasn't until I moved spaces and my body kind of felt, I guess the word would be free, even though another big yawn, even though I am free to do whatever, but it was it's important to kind of move around and let your mind and your body explore sometimes and change things up. But I kind of derailed for a second there. Yeah, incorporating exercise. Walking, probably one of the easiest things that everybody can do no matter what age. I know Dan Brown said that he likes to stop every hour and move around, do some push-ups, some sit-ups, and some like air squats, I think he said. Another thing that you could think of, I know it's not exactly exercise, but I'd say it's at the same level as walking, and it's like, getting your body moving and stuff, is if you've got dishes to do or laundry to fold, and you should be taking a break, I would say every hour and a half at the most, just to get your body out of that position, let the blood flow. And it's not, of course there are health benefits, but it's also, when you get the blood flowing, it may actually help your creativity and your writing, because of the physiological changes that are happening in your body. But, doing some dishes, folding some laundry, taking care of little errands that won't get you so distracted that you're gonna stop writing, but maybe 5 or 10 minute break in between, not only you're knocking out some of the chores for that day, but you also, again, you're getting the blood flowing, you're getting some movement. Taking the dog out for a walk, that's another really good one. If you're more of a gym person like I am, then you could also incorporate a gym routine. So what I like to do, and it goes so far as to like even the way you eat. I've even been considering like doing a writer's type of workout slash diet routine, because another reoccurring theme you'll see for a lot of writers is that most best-selling authors that I've followed or read or seen, they actually don't eat until their writing is complete. And many of them wait until the middle. So they fast. It's basically they're doing a fasting regimen or a fasting protocol. And what it does is when you're fasting, when you kind of skip breakfast, although many fitness and health nuts would say the first meal of the day, no matter what time it is breakfast, because you're breaking the fast. But however you look at it, outside of the semantics of it, is if you wait a few hours to eat, your mind is going to be super alert. And I believe that the creative juices flow a lot better. And I've also seen enough evidence from other best-selling authors and stuff like that that would suggest that this is a common thread that many of them follow. Now, again, that doesn't mean that all of them do it, and it doesn't mean that you have to, but it's something to experiment with and see, does that fit for you? It's also just, again, health-wise, it's good for you. And the healthier your body is, the healthier your brain is, usually that will translate into your writing as better writing, or sometimes just more efficient writing, because your mind is able to keep up with the needs of your story a lot better. So keep those things in mind. To kind of go back to what I was trying to say earlier, if you like to go to the gym, then I would recommend setting a routine in for the gym. What I normally do is in the morning I'll write till about the afternoon. Then I'll go to the gym, work out, and then pick up my daughter. Sometimes it'll be in opposite order. Maybe I'll write an extra hour or two, pick up my daughter, then go to the gym. But and that's a long time to not eat. But I'll tell you what, it keeps me very alert. You don't get that sluggishness from having eaten. And then you go into your workout, you're like super ready to go. Then once you get back home, whenever that is, and again, this is just my routine, I really feel like I have earned whatever meal I decide to eat. And I'm still ready to go. A lot of times I'll go back and I'll either continue writing or, not unfortunately, but there are those days where you want to continue writing, but there's other business stuff. And that's what I try to do. I try to separate the day into two main sections. It's like, or I guess you could say three. It's like, morning is for writing. Make that the number one priority. The middle of the day is for the main workout, and then the end of the day is for any kind of business related stuff, because by the end of the day, the afternoon, I should say, it's not really the end of the day, that's when most people have sent their emails that you have to return. That's when most people will call you. That's when most people are available for you to get a hold of them and all this other stuff. That's when a lot of meetings are. Like last night, I went to this Palm Beach Tech Talk in downtown West Palm Beach. It was really great. Learned about growth hacking and learned about influencer marketing, which we're definitely going to deploy that strategy for our business. But that was in the afternoon. So I had already written. I had already gone to the gym. I'd already taking care of a lot of business emails and stuff. So then I was able to go out and do that meeting as well. And then if you don't have something like that in the evening, then you have time to hang out with the family, Netflix and chill. And even when we're doing the Netflix and chill thing, because my wife is very entrepreneurial too, we will sit down and do a number of things that are business related. Sometimes they're just the monotonous tasks that don't require a lot of brain work, but they have to get done. Maybe some copy pasting, maybe some for anybody who does marketing or publishing on KDP. Every so many months you have to go in there and set up when you're going to put your books on either a countdown deal or a free deal, or are you going to do a promotion, a paid promotion? A lot of those things they're kind of boring tasks, if you ask me. They don't require a lot of creativity though. I mean, once you've learned how to do them, all it really requires is you picking out dates and times. And you probably already have the copy written from before. So again, we save those kind of tasks for the evening. And then you might ask, well, Josh, when do you do these videos and podcasts? I try to fit these in at various times. These are the things that I do when I've got a free moment. For example, you're watching me writing on the screen, but I'm actually laying in bed, and it's kind of I haven't done a video for a while, so I wanted to knock one out. I had a lot of footage, but I just hadn't had the time with a lot of family and business stuff going on, so wanted to knock this out. Sometimes we'll do them in the evening, sometimes we'll do them while we walk. And the thing is, I hear a lot of people out there saying, well, I could never do that, or what about the quality of video? And sure, if you look at some of my videos, especially from the beginning, but even now, some of them, the quality's kind of crap, because I'm out walking, or the lighting's bad. There's a lot of things that go on, but I would rather have content than, even if the quality is not as good, than no content. And I try to create a balance. I try to do some videos that have very high quality, and then some that are medium, and then some it's I don't care as much as I just care about having something go out there. And there's so many reasons for that. One is, if you get paralyzed by perfection, or a.k.a. perfection paralysis, you're never going to get anything done. And you're never going to get any content out there. And this applies to writing as well. It's not just podcasts or video blogs and stuff like that. And then two, it's people, if it's what I have found is that if a video's content adds value, it doesn't really matter what the quality is, people are going to watch it. And the other way around too, you can make a really nice looking video and think it's great, and then nobody watches it. So it's somewhere in between where the truth and reality lies. So for me, it's more I'd rather just put content out there that I think adds value and keeps the channel active, and then let you guys decide, what are the things that you want to watch and what are the things that you don't. And that's essentially it. But so just to wrap up here though, the main reason we're doing this video is just to get you thinking about, where are the places that you write? Do you go to a coffee shop? Do you write at home? Do you write in the office? Do you write outside? All of these places are cool, and I would venture to say that a lot of writers do that, but sometimes you don't think about it consciously. It's like an unconscious thing that happens. But when you start to think about it consciously, then you can deploy some strategies so that if you're in a writing spot and it's not working, you can ask yourself, what does my body feel like today? Do I need to just get up and walk? Or do I need to go and change locations? Do I need to go outside today? Do I need to go somewhere where there's a lot of bustle to kind of get the energy from other people around me? Or do I need to go to a place of solitude and where there's just dead silence and write that way? None of those are wrong answers. It's really up to what your body is telling you, and being cognizant that you have those choices is very important as a writer. So keep that in mind. I'm going to end on this because I didn't think about this, but there's also different stages in writing. So, for example, when you're in the outlining, brainstorming stage, going out for a walk and dictating to your phone, or stopping at a park bench and writing down your thoughts and ideas and outlines on a notebook paper, that's still writing. You're not at a computer, but you're still getting stuff done for your book. And so, that's another thing to consider, is when you're in a certain phase, it may be more congruent for you to go outside or to be in one location than another. Another example would be once you've written the first or second draft and you want to go back and you want to start editing, rather than editing at your computer, a lot of people, including myself, they'll print out, say, well, you could go a couple different ways. You could print out, say, 10 or 20 pages a day, or you could go to like Office Depot and have them print out a whole manuscript, and they do it nice, like in a binder type of deal. And then you take that and you go somewhere. You go to the pool, you go to the beach, you go to the park, and you just read it like you're one of your actual readers, flipping through pages, touching the pages, seeing the words as they would see them. And it kind of puts you in a different mindset. You're still writing, you're doing the editing process, and usually at that point you're like looking for plot holes or content edits. And at that point, it allows you to, like being in that different location, in a different type of modality, allows you to really get in touch with where your readers are going to be and what they'll be doing. And that's another thing too. I named some places that I like to go. The pool in particular is like one of my favorite outside places, but maybe you think about it like, where would my ideal reader be when they're reading this? And then you go and read it, and that might help strike a chord and say, oh, I need to go back and change this thing here because it's just going to create the right tone for while they're sitting in this place. And I don't know why, but like in my mind, I'm thinking like, what if somebody's reading at the skating rink? Which is like, why would any? But anyways, lots of different places that people read. Maybe you lay down in bed and read. A lot of people read in bed before they go to sleep, and you do your edits there. But so that's this week's video, or today's video, and hopefully it's given you some insights on the different times and places you can write, the different routines and strategies you can deploy so that you can keep your writing fresh. It doesn't get boring for you, and so hopefully that's helpful. If you think of something that I didn't today, or like, let me know, like, what are some places that you like to go to and write? What are some of your favorite places? What are some of your strategies to kind of keep things fresh on days where the routine is just getting kind of monotonous? Go ahead and drop them in a comment down below. And if you like this video, go ahead and like it. If you know somebody that could benefit from listening to this video, maybe another writer, somebody who owns a business or is an entrepreneur and wants to write a book about their business or their idea, go ahead and send them this video to help them get their dream to become a reality. And if you haven't already, subscribe and you'll get videos like this. You'll get updated as they come out. Let me think. You can catch me on all the different social medias. I'm mainly on Instagram, and we have recently started a podcast called Polymathics through Anchor, but it's essentially on all of the things like iTunes and Stitcher and all that stuff. So you can check us out there, but at Joshumusprime, that's usually my handle. If not, you can just look me up by Josh Coker. And that pretty much is a wrap. I will catch you all in the next video. Have a good day. Have a good writing. Take it easy.